Black Chamber of Commerce, we are the champions of change, advocating for diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility in the world of corporate and government contracting. It's not just a show, it's Larry Ivory.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Good morning, Mr. Ivory. How are you?
Hey, I'm
Hey, good
living my best life.
good
Hey, I'm
morning.
excited about the show today because we're going to be talking about some of the real big problems. I think one of the biggest problems we've talked about, not just in the state of Illinois, but throughout the country, is solopreneurs. And it's a conversation that is painful at times because we have a lot of businesses, but unfortunately, they're mom and pop businesses only. And our goal and what we're striving for is to improve those numbers and go from solopreneurs to having more and more employees. So this is what we're going to be talking about. We have an incredible guest with us in the studio today. So I'm going to pass it back to LaDonna Raeh and MC Pearson. What do you guys got to say about that?
Well, first of all, I want to say that, Buddy Love is out today. Everyone listening, make sure you call in. When you call in, use 773-591-1690. We are on each and every Saturday, and we have a special treat for you. We have our in studio guest counsel, Robert Johnson. He was with us last week. We were talking about Zimbabwe and things of that nature. But this week, we're talking about that solopreneurship and utilizing the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce as your ad hoc or your team of individuals that you need to have when you don't have a workforce.
You know, Solo entrepreneurs are really the backbone of this country. There's so many of them that are out here, but the idea is that we need to scale. We need to grow our businesses. We have a duty, obligation, and responsibility to our communities. And when we are able to become employers and assist people with economic empowerment, that is what really begins to turn the ships around in our communities, allows us to make them safe, to grow them, to be able to see Black businesses that look like us and to be able to exchange that Black dollar within our own community. So this conversation is very, very exciting to me. And, it's near and dear to me because I was a solopreneur at one point in time. And so, you know what? I came from this, and talking about scaling it up, I'm a part of that. So this is good stuff.
Well, I can attest to that because now when I call Mike, he says call the warehouse. I'm a little taken aback by that because I'm used to talking directly to Mike, but he's like, "Did you call the warehouse?"
Well,
Hey,
we,
Big
we had
time.
to grow.
Yeah, yeah, big time, uppity, No.
hey, that's beautiful, guy. One of the things that we have to be intimately aware of is that scaling up means more jobs, more opportunity, more resources. It just simply gives us, it's exactly what we should be doing. I've had some conversation with friends, and I said, we talk about everything except how to take our businesses to the next level sometimes. We'll talk about everything in the world, all the problems. But when you create millions of dollars and you got $1 million, you can write $1 million check. That is a whole different experience. And that's really what we want people to be able to do, to be in a position where you can do a lot of different things. And money gives you that. No money, no mission. So we're here to help move that mission of economic empowerment because all money ties to 80% of our problems that we face in our lives. And we need to find a way. And the only way I believe to get from poverty to prosperity comes through education and entrepreneurship. So this is what this is about. It's about taking our business to the next level. So I'm excited to engage in this incredible conversation with our special guest, the one and only, uh, the extraordinary, great
Well,
attorney,
yes.
Robert Johnson is going to be joining us here today also. And he is just an incredible background. We are honored to have him with us. His story is an incredible story of success. And he continues to do what people like him do. They're not common, they're extraordinary in terms of his role with McDonald's, his role with Jeff Bezos, his law firm. So, we're excited to have the Counselor Robert Johnson joining us here. You're going to hear from him shortly as he begins to break down some of the things as it relates to franchising, and he's going to be engaged in this conversation from beginning to end. So I'm excited about that, guys.
Yes, for sure. So, just so you know the statistics, guys, there are 90% of Black owned businesses that are solo run. Approximately 90% of our Black owned businesses have just the CEO, the president, the person that started and founded the company with no paid employees. And 3.7 million Black owned businesses in the US are what are accounted for. So, just let that sit for a minute. 38% of the approval rate for Black owned businesses when it comes to loans. So, when Black owned businesses go to banks and to financial institutions, only 38% of them are getting approved for these loans. Now, there have been programs in different states where they offer to give you employees that are paid by the state for a short amount of time. And sometimes businesses have don't even have the strategy to delegate to those employees when they come in so that they can maximize that opportunity. So we need to really dive in to the statistics and how they sit with our Black owned businesses and how to utilize those opportunities when they do come, because what you don't want is someone sitting at your cash register or in your business and not having enough work to do.
I was just consulting with a small business in Indiana yesterday, and they said they need to hire employees, but they don't know how to. And the very first thing I asked him was, "Well, what is the employee going to do?" He says, "Well, I got all kinds of things to do." And as he went around the mulberry bush and he just randomly tossed out stuff, I say, "Okay, this is what your problem is. The first thing you need to do is you need to write down everything that you do. Put each one on a sticky tab." I said, "Put it on the wall." And then after you write down all of those things, begin to group them in like items, like tasks. And then once you begin to group them, then give them a title: admin one, customer service one, graphic designer one, graphic designer two. I say, and then what's going to happen is you're going to start to define the roles of employees that you need to hire. Now you could define who you need to hire, when you need to hire them, and then when they come in the door, you have a SOP of what their roles and responsibilities are. And so then it becomes easier to train them. Many of us don't even take the time to write down all the different things that are going on in our business and all the various tasks, and then assign them a position. So we hire by position in our company, and then we cross train positions. So you may come in one day and you are operating as admin one, but then the next day you might have to operate as admin two, and they have different roles and responsibilities. But we have all of those things documented. And that's one of the first things that you need to do in order to begin to grow your business so that you can even hire somebody.
Yeah. And that's key, because if you don't know what you do and you just do everything, then everything is nothing. That's what your employee is going to end up doing. So we're going to get ready and go to commercial break. But before we go to commercial break, I want you guys to take a moment to go to youtube.com/, look for the Wake Up Show Chicago and subscribe. It's okay. It's free. Hit that subscribe button so we can get our numbers up and get the information out. I'll see you when you come back on the Wake Up Show Chicago. Hey, it's LaDonna Raeh with the Wake Up Show Chicago. I just want to get the attention of all the business owners out there. Are you ready to take your marketing to the next level? Discover the power of AI in transforming your business. So here are some tips that'll help you in your marketing and using AI. Tip number 1. Automated social media management. Use AI-powered tools like Hootsuite or Buffer to automate your social media posts. These platforms can schedule posts, analyze engagement, and even suggest the best times to post, helping you maintain a consistent online presence without overwhelming your time. Tip number 2, personalized customer outreach. Implement AI-driven email marketing tools like MailChimp or Constant Contact that allow you to segment your audience based on their behavior and preferences. This enables you to send personalized offers, announcements, or updates, fostering stronger relationships with your customers. Tip number 3, AI-powered financial management. Use AI tools like QuickBooks or FreshBooks to manage your finances. These tools can automate invoicing, track expenses, and even provide insights into your cash flow, making it easier to keep your business's financial health on track. I personally use Square customer service chatbots. Consider integrating an AI powered chatbot on your website to handle customer inquiries 24/7. Tools like Zendesk or ChatFuel will assist with answering common questions, booking appointments, or guiding customers through your offerings, enhancing customer experience without needing constant manual attention. And now, tip number 5, market analysis and trend prediction. Leverage AI tools like Google Trends or IBM Watson to analyze market trends and consumer behavior specific to your industry. These insights can help you stay ahead of the competition by identifying emerging trends.
We'll build businesses with heart.
And we're back. I love saying that. Thank you for staying with us on the Wake Up Show Chicago on WVON, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and why not Facebook? With the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce, we are powered by that chamber. Larry Ivory, you are still, dropping gems every single time you work one to one or in a group. You're always dropping gems to those solopreneurs out there. So it is an honor to have you have this particular show so that our audience can gain some information on how to utilize and maximize being a solopreneur and of course leverage the membership of the chamber.
Well, Donna, that's our mission. Our goal is to strengthen Black businesses. Every day we get up, that's what we do. And we're excited, as I stated earlier, to have the incredible entrepreneur and incredible business guy on the call with us today, in the show today, Robert Johnson. So, Robert, tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us why you think franchising is a part of our solution as we move forward into taking businesses to the next level.
Thank you, Larry, and good morning, everyone. It's an honor and pleasure to be on the show. We had an opportunity to talk about international opportunities last week, and I think this week we want to drill down and bring it back home and talk about how we can help accelerate the scaling of Black businesses, not only here in Illinois, but we still have that connection with the diaspora. As Larry said, my name is Robert Johnson. I'm an attorney, 30 years plus, but I call myself a lawpreneur. This is an area that I'm passionate about. I've been a serial entrepreneur since the age of 12. Like DC, I started off, actually at the age of 12, I started off with four brothers from Fort Heights when we started our first corporation to get into real estate. And ever since then, I've had a love and a passion for entrepreneurship, Black entrepreneurship, the Black community. Spent 15 years in-house counsel at McDonald's Corporation, where I was essentially the Olivia Pope of McDonald's. It was my job.
That's right. I know that's right.
It was my job to make bad things go away so that you wouldn't read about it in the newspaper. Like this last E. coli outbreak that they had, that's the kind of stuff that I would deal with, make those things go away or try to prevent them from happening in the first place. And then I went over to the business side and became the company liaison to all the Black McDonald's owner operators. And that really opened my eyes to the world of franchising. Even though I was working for the company, I didn't really understand the power of franchising until I saw firsthand. At that time, I represented over 500 Black multimillionaires because of and there was probably about another 100 or so that were suppliers to McDonald's that were African American. And I saw firsthand that McDonald's had made more minority millionaires than any company in the world. at that time, and it was through the power of franchising. And I learned a lot of lessons helping these entrepreneurs grow and scale their business, and just seeing how they moved as one, and how they moved in unison, and how they spoke truth to power. I mean, they were like the Black Panthers in McDonald's. They didn't take no shit from McDonald's. I'm sorry, the FCC might have a problem with that.
It's late. It's just late.
We told y'all this is real
This is
talk.
real raw radio, folks. But the issues that we're dealing with in our community are real. LaDonna shared some of the national statistics, but when you look at the statistics for Black businesses that we have here in Illinois, it's not much better. Out of about 176,000 businesses here in Illinois, 96% of them are solopreneurs as well. So those statistics translate just as equally as painful here in Illinois as they do on a national level. And so here at the Chamber, our goal is to try to equip Black businesses with the tools and the resources that they need for whatever level you are to take you to the next level. Because as Larry said, people will come into our community, they'll talk about health disparities, they'll talk about Social Security, they'll talk about Medicare, all of that stuff, but they don't talk about wealth. When we talk about entrepreneurship, it is about wealth and closing the racial wealth gap. Every Black community, except maybe PG County in America, has a economic disparity gap, retail disparity gap, rather, in the sense that the residents who live in that community don't have enough businesses in the community to support what their everyday needs are. I live in Bronzeville, which is supposed to be one of the most affluent African American communities in Chicago, and it has over $1 billion retail gap, which means that I and all of my neighbors have to go out of our community to get the basic necessities that we need to live. And so that's a tragedy. So at the Chamber, and my goal personally is to create sustainable Black communities where we can live, work, play, and pray. Just like it used to be, that we have everything in our community that we need. And if we go outside of our community to spend our dollar, it's a choice and not something that we have to do. And so when I think about solopreneurs, for the most part, most of our businesses are not even mom and pop, they're a hustle. There's 4 things that you need to be a legit business, and there's 5 things that you need to scale a business. The 4 things that you need to be a business, one is a corporate entity. A lot of our people don't even have a corporate entity. They're just out here as a solopreneur or as a sole proprietor, which leaves you naked and bare without protections and against litigation. You need an EIN. That's the second thing you need. You gotta render unto Caesar what's Caesar's. So you gotta have that's your business's social security number. That's your way you pay taxes. That's the way the government tracks you. 3, you gotta have a bank account, and I would obviously say more than just a business bank account, but a banking relationship. Most of our businesses didn't do well in the receipt of COVID funding because they didn't have a relationship with a bank. The COVID funds were passed through the banks, and the banks called the customers that they had a relationship with, and that's how those folks receive those stimulus payments. Just having a bank account does not mean you have a business banking relationship. And then the final thing is, well, LaDonna's an expert. You got to have some kind of marketing presence, namely a website, a landing page, something that lets folks know that you're out there. Those 4 basic things, the vast majority of our businesses don't have. So we got to begin with the basics. I try to meet people where they are. So those are the 4 things to just be considered a business. And then once you do that, there's 5 functional things that you need to figure out how you're going to manage to grow your business. Operations, marketing, finance, some form of HR, and legal. How are you going to handle those? So those are the things that your business is going to encounter. And you as a solopreneur typically are not going to be an expert in either of those. You're going to be an expert in whatever it is that you decided that you wanted to make your business. So we got at the chamber, we have that sort of back office support that helps you begin to grow your business. So I just wanted Larry to take our listeners through that exercise before we even get to talking about franchising, M&A, strategic alliances, and the various ways that we grow and scale our business. But we got to ground our listeners, and these are the things that you need just to even get in the game. And so if you don't have those things, then come check us out at the chamber and see how we can help put that support around you and connect you with the professionals that can help you do that.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely, Robert. Let me just say this, MC, and I'll pass the ball back to you, is that, you know, when we take a look in our communities and some of the inherent challenges that we have, everything has its own purpose. And I don't think we spend enough time, in my opinion, because people say, well, you guys are always talking about business and money. Well, business and money is important. And we don't do enough of that, even from a political side. Our legislators are not as engaged in business and the procurement process. We have a lot of disparities when it comes to once you have a business and you scale a business up. Um, there are some inherent challenges that the chamber has to deal with on an ongoing basis and being an advocate so we can help resolve some of those inherent challenges in terms of reciprocity, in terms of contracting, because sometimes if you don't understand the procurement process, you simply get lost in the shuffle, or you sometimes don't get treated fairly. And that's a common issue in the state of Illinois and throughout the United States, quite frankly. So, it's important. MC, you were getting ready to say?
I think one of the only other things that I would probably add on to the list is something that is commonly done and it's actually happening right now on this show, and it's mentorship. Oftentimes, mentors provide guidance and experience and perspective, and they can help you avoid some of the common mistakes that young entrepreneurs make. And when I got into the business, I didn't have any mentors. I had no mentors that looked like me, and the ones that didn't look like me, they didn't want to be bothered with me. And so I stumbled along for a long time, and you know what, and I don't regret anything. But if I had had a mentor, and that's one of the things that the uh Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce brings to the fold. Many of us, and let's just be honest about it, most solopreneurs, they got into business because they had a talent or a skill. They didn't necessarily go to university and learn business economics and strategy and marketing. Marketing 101. They didn't go to university and learn those things. And oftentimes on these podcasts that we watch and we go to these different conferences and we hear about you got to put your team together. You need your accountant, you need your lawyer, you need your marketing professionals and things of that nature. And most of us don't even know how to approach putting that together. And that's one of the things that joining the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce does, because all of those roles are actually present in the chamber. There have been lawyers that have joined. There have been graphic designers and print professionals and marketing professionals and accountants that have joined. And it becomes a mentorship, but it becomes a partnership, and it becomes a team. And I think that is what is hot.
All right, we're going to go to commercial break, and you can still give us a call. I see some callers out there. We'll get you right after this commercial break. 773-591-1690. You are listening to the Wake Up Show Chicago.
When we take a look at lower education, I mean, when you talk about high schools and primary schools, where you could have a significant Black student enrollment. But the fact of the matter is, when you take a look at their spend and how much of that money has gone to Black contractors, Black plumbers, Black heating and air conditioning companies, you're going to find that those numbers are pretty poor. And so it makes sense for us to take a look at how we improve those numbers, whether it be at the university, junior college level, or high school and primary school. We have to do a much better job where our students when they get the funding, based upon the students that are there, that we get a chance to participate, because there's a direct correlation between crime and the lack of economics.
Hey, it's LaDonna Raeh with the Wake Up Show Chicago. I just want to get the attention of all the business owners out there. Are you ready to take your marketing to the next level? Discover the power of AI in transforming your business. So here are some tips that'll help you in your marketing and using AI. Tip number 1. Automated social media management. Use AI-powered tools like Hootsuite or Buffer to automate your social media posts. These platforms can schedule posts, analyze engagement, and even suggest the best times to post, helping you maintain a consistent online presence without overwhelming your time. Tip number 2, personalized customer outreach. Implement AI-driven email marketing tools like MailChimp or Constant Contact that allow you to segment your audience based on their behavior and preferences. This enables you to send personalized offers, announcements, or updates, fostering stronger relationships with your customers. Tip number 3, AI-powered financial management. Use AI tools like QuickBooks or FreshBooks to manage your finances. These tools can automate invoicing, track expenses, and even provide insights into your cash flow, making it easier to keep your business's financial health on track. I personally use Square customer service chatbots. Consider integrating an AI-powered chatbot on your website to handle customer inquiries 24/7. Tools like Zendesk or ChatFuel will assist with answering common questions, booking appointments, or guiding customers through your offerings, enhancing customer experience without needing constant manual attention. And now, tip number 5. Market analysis and trend prediction. Leverage AI tools like Google Trends or IBM Watson to analyze market trends and consumer behavior specific to your industry. These insights can help you stay ahead of the competition by identifying emerging trends and adjusting your business strategy accordingly. Well, that's all I got for this week. Be sure to put your AI to work. I'm LaDonna Raeh, your AI expert, and continue listening to the Wake Up Show Chicago.
Your voice matters. Your vote is your power. This November, don't let it go to waste. Whether you're voting for the first time or the 100th, it's time to make your voice heard. Head to the local registration office or visit elections.il.gov to register today. Remember, change starts with you. Register now. Vote on Election Day and shape the future you want to see. Your vote counts. Make it count.
Brought to you by the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce.
And we're back. Thank you so much for listening to the Wake Up Show Chicago. And those of you that went to the Wake Up Show on YouTube, it's the Wake Up Show Chicago. If you hit that subscribe button, it's going to show up and I'm going to show out. And I'm going to say thank you to you for going ahead and doing that free button push. Now, we do have a caller on the line. Nakia, are you there?
Yes, I am.
We always say call in, call in. So I wanted to give you your time. Thank you so much for calling the Wake Up Show Chicago. What do you got for us?
Yeah, thank you. I was just going to say thank you for doing this this subject, because actually everything you all have said so far has been like spot on. Me, someone who has struggled with the business for 20 years, but we can not have time to get into all of that. But I'm still hanging on. And I would say the biggest thing, though, about the financials, even though you have to upscale, you still have to realistically know exactly where you are in order to do that, because you don't want to take on too much debt off of hope. You only want to take on debt off of things that you know is going to bring the money back into you. You know what I mean? So you have to market, you have to advertise, but if those dollars are not going to be well spent, then that's not a good thing to try to do. If you hire someone to do something to take something off of you physically, but then it's draining you fast financially, then that's still not the right time to try and do that either. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So timing is key to when it comes to money, because it doesn't come back as fast as it goes out. So having a mentor, like you all said, having a mentor, somebody who's been there, done that, is key. I started a business, like you said, with just passion and not really knowing the business side of things. So that's what I've been spending 20 years doing, learning the business. Because I'm an excellent chef, you know what I mean? No doubt about it. But how do you let someone know that you are an excellent chef, and what do you have to offer, and who needs are you actually meeting? So those things just has to be figured out before you just jump into a business, because it's a lot.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for your service.
Yeah, with the right tools, it's a beautiful thing. Yeah.
Well, first of all, thank you for your service. If you've been in the game for 20 years, then my hat's off to you, because most businesses don't survive that long. So regardless of the struggles, you've made it work. So thank you. But you're absolutely right. I think starting with the end in mind is something that I think is key. Going back to what was said before the break, most of us are either accidental or unintentional entrepreneurs. So what that means is, we got laid off, we got downsized, we got mama died, whatever. We get into this game.
Our job.
Yeah, we get into this game without necessarily having the foresight and the forethought of how we're going to do this and putting all of the things in place. And mentorship and partnership is key, because some of the things that I think when you're starting out, when you don't have the resources for marketing and some of the things that we've been talking about, you have to be creative. I'm a big fan of partnerships and even bartering. So when you're, because access to capital, particularly as a solopreneur, is real. Banks only lend money to people who don't need it. So if until you get to that point where you scale, you have to be a lot more scrappy and a lot more intentional, and be very strategic in terms of how you spend your money. But one of the things that I also want to talk about again is how we scale our businesses by looking at other opportunities to grow. We alluded to franchising earlier. The areas that I try to help people focus on to rapidly scale their business are either franchising, what's typically called M&A, but at the level that we're talking about is really more called business brokerage, which is essentially buying sort of mainstream businesses, and then strategic partnerships. Those are the three things that I think from a solopreneur perspective are the most realistic ways to scale your business. And the reason why those are more realistic is because there's access to capital along those pathways, which is much harder to grow organically, because the only ways that you can grow organically as a solopreneur are through increased sales or through access to capital through either private equity, venture capital at that point, which is taking on outside investors to infuse your business with capital to help you grow, or looking for a strategic partnership, somebody who is in a business that's aligned or adjacent to the type of sector that you're in, that wants to partner with you to help you grow. And that's typically referred to as a joint venture. So I just want to begin to let folks in our community be aware of some of these terms and some of these ways that other communities have grown and scaled their business. What I like to say is that I like to take what they do on Wall Street and make it work on MLK. Just take those same principles that have worked in other arenas and figure out how to tweak them so that they work for our community. Many of you have heard me talk about franchising and why I think it's not I think it is the most powerful business model out there in terms of growth. There's, I think at last count, probably over 10,000 different types of franchises. So there's not a type of business that there's not a franchise that exists for. And the reason that I'm such a big fan of franchising is for a lot of the reasons that we have been talking about today. One, you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. There's someone who has a vested interest in your success, and more importantly, they've already figured out the business model, whatever it is that you're trying to do. There's a template for it. Two, you get an opportunity to have access to capital. 99.99% of franchises are already SBA approved. Why? Because of that first point. it's a proven business model. So the bank will finance a franchise because of the track record of the franchisor. Third, it teaches you how to bring on employees. By definition, it's a business model. So, as was said earlier with the sticky note example, all of that is already written up in the manual. So, all you got to do is say, hey, when this new employee comes on, you do X, Y, Z. It has roles and responsibilities for you as the owner and for your employees. Fourth, it's already a built-in exit strategy. Like I said, most entrepreneurs don't have a clue as to how they're going to get out of this business. Well, you buy a franchise, you can sell a franchise. When it's time for you to exit, there's a franchise market, a resale market where you can sell it to another potential franchisee, or you can sell it back to the franchisor. So that gives you a whole life cycle roadmap for your business from entry to exit. And then, as I said, the big power of a franchise is that when you want to have your next location, somebody else is financing your growth. So I said earlier that franchisees, when I was with McDonald's, I saw them become millionaires. Well, franchisors, which is what McDonald's was, when I left, it was in 2014, it was a $65 billion company. And despite what people think, McDonald's does not sell hamburgers. It does not sell French fries. It does not sell milkshakes. McDonald's sells one thing: franchises.
Franchises.
Hey, Robert,
And
let me just chime in here. You know, the young lady mentioned that she was in business for over 20 years. And I heard her as I was listening. 20 years is a long time to be in business, so she's doing something right. But she was saying, I thought, was that she's not expanding her business at the rate that she would like. And one of the things that we do at the chamber is that we sit down with businesses and listen to them where they're at and figure out how to help them get to the next level, because sometimes it's about getting in front of more customers. It's about marketing. Sometimes, and that's why people join the chamber, because they get a chance to, perhaps if she would call the chamber and say, hey, look, when you guys hold something, I'd like for you guys to consider me, doing the food or do the catering. Well, when she does the catering and you have hundreds of business owners, she gets this incredible opportunity, if she's good, for other people to say, hey, look, man, that I really enjoyed her food. Larry, give me, what was the number of that young lady who came to the event? And before you know it, other people are calling her. So we have to be very intentional about, one, understanding where we're at. And I think the chamber does a fantastic job sitting down with our members and asking, where's your pain point? Where are you at, where you're trying to get to, and then begin to help them to overcome those problem areas, whether it be access to capital, whether that be more marketing, whether that be you need a better accountant, whatever it is, we're listening and we're hearing our members say where they're at and what they need to do to get there. And it sounds like this young lady has done a great job of staying in business, but she hasn't grown the business to the level she wants. And what we need to do is have a conversation about what's preventing her from getting to the next level, and how do we help her as an organization so she can scale up and she becomes more than just one or two employees, but 10 or 15 employees or 20 or 30 employees, or perhaps even more than that.
yeah, Larry, I agree. I mean, and that's when we talk about strategic partnerships, I don't think most business owners look at organizations like the Chamber as a strategic partner. It's not just a membership, but it's a partnership. And so, to Larry's point, once you join the Chamber, you get access to all of those resources, individuals who can help you focus on not just being in business, but focus on growing your business.
All right. Well, you know what that sound means. We're at our last commercial break at 9:45 ish. Okay. We'll be back after this commercial break where you're listening to the Wake Up Show Chicago.
If you missed the Getting Down to Business 19th Annual Business Convention brought to you by the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce, well, here's your chance to pre-register for next year's 20th Anniversary Business Convention happening at the luxurious Wind Creek Casino in Homewood, Illinois, the summer of 2025. This is your chance to be a part of an unforgettable experience where industry leaders come together to connect, learn, and grow. Whether you're looking to expand your network, gain valuable insights, or showcase your business, this is the event of the year. And here's the best part. Pre-register now for just $50 at ilbcc.org, and the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce will match your $50 towards your full registration. But hurry, this offer is only available for a limited time. Don't miss out on this exclusive opportunity. Secure your spot today, and let's make the 20th Anniversary Business Convention the best one yet. Visit ilbcc.org to pre-register now and double your investment in your future. See you at the Wind Creek Casino, summer of 2025. Brought to you by the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce.
Being a part of the chamber, being at these opportunities to present, but at the same time, you have to be willing to do the work so you can be ready for the opportunity, because they are there. They are, as I love to say, cutting checks, but they're not going to cut you a check if you're not ready.
Yeah, and LaDonna, what I would say, if you're a very small business and you're struggling, we want to make sure that people understand is that doing business international requires a degree of business savvy and understanding. And we wouldn't want people to think that it is that easy, but it is easy. But you got to really be prepared. And the chamber job is to get you prepared so that you understand. So when we go on this trade mission coming up in December the 1st to the 9th, we're going to get you prepared. We're going to have meetings ahead of time in IT, technology, infrastructure, healthcare, all the major industries.
And we are back after that last commercial break. And Larry, you know, we had that soundbite where you were talking about the membership having its benefits, but I want to pass the ball back to you, sir.
You know, one of the things that I love about what we do is that every business, there's what we call tier one, tier two, and tier three businesses. And each of them are different levels, and different have different needs, like human beings have different needs. We all don't need the same thing. We need different things. And our job is to really listen to the entrepreneur. And I think MC, all of us understand the importance of understanding what are people current, where's the pain at? What's preventing you from taking your business to the next level? And you can only do that by engaging with people who understand business. And we have a team of people who listen to you, and we hear what you're saying, and we want to know, and we ask probing questions in terms of what you're missing, because sometimes it's a banking relationship, sometimes it's a good account, and sometimes it's just not being able to identify your market, or you got so many things like LaDonna has said, you work in your business but you don't work on your business. And so you need to have an outside perspective of people who understand business so they can help you really kind of focus on what it takes to get to the next level. And I think that's so important. And where the chamber becomes such an enormous asset is the ability for us to hear you, to listen to you, to ask the right questions, and then be able to connect you to the right people and give you the right solution that takes you to the next level, and then be able to track it, to be able to, really see the impact of the advice and the counsel that's been given. And we want you to grow, because when you grow, you become a stronger member, a stronger advocate. And this is what this is all about. So that's why you join the chamber, because you want someone to hear you, to analyze where you're at, and to be able to help you to move to the next level. So I want to pass that back to MC, because you and I talk about the pain points and what it is that the chamber can do to help businesses. Robert, all of us, this is what we do, is to help you get to the next level. So I'll pass it back to
So,
my team there.
So, exactly what Larry was just saying. What does it mean if you don't grow your business? What's at risk? Is it that you won't get the chance to see your daughter at her ballet recital? Is it that you won't get the chance to actually grow generational wealth for the ones that are coming after you? You know, I believe that we don't start to think of what's at risk if we don't join a body of like-minded business owners, entrepreneurs who are growing with one another, who are sharing ideas and methodologies. You know, it's what's at risk if we don't. Do we continue on the grind? You know, off air, Robert was just mentioning how there are entrepreneurs that once they get to 60 or 65 and they get tired and they close their business, they have to go to work again. You know, I can't tell you how many um, entrepreneurs that I've saw their business die with them because there wasn't a second generation to come in and take it to the next level. There wasn't a grandchild or a child that would take the vision that was already ingrained, that already had a foundation, and then take it to the next level. And that's one of the things that joining the chamber does, because you know what, we talk about the procurement opportunities and becoming certified, but there are other strategies that we just don't learn as Black businesses or as entrepreneurs, such as, you know, I told someone else the other day, you hire to replace yourself. You hire to reclaim time back, because oftentimes we're doing the low level things that we can be hiring somebody for, and it's versus dealing with those top level things. You know, you go to conferences and you learn these different strategies, and there's people that you need to reach out to, but you don't have the time to do that because you're doing bookkeeping and because you're creating a widget. And so oftentimes I hear people think that growth in my business is when I begin to hire people. And that's the furthest thing from the truth. It's when you begin to replace yourself. And the more that we begin to replace ourselves in those areas that is making money, so that we can then continue to be the visionary, to be the person that makes it rain and brings in the capital. So it's the intangibles that the chamber brings to us as well.
Yeah,
So in an upcoming show, we will definitely talk about protecting your legacy, the business succession plan for Black entrepreneurs. Robert.
yeah. I mean, just to build on what MC said, I'd like to use the term duplicate yourself as opposed to replace yourself, because I mean that's ultimately what you want to do. You want to create more yous in the organization, so there's less of you that's running the organization, but you get to do all of the things that he was talking about. I think the biggest risk that we have by not growing our business is not creating that generational wealth, because that's the whole purpose of a business, is creating generational wealth, and having what, again, a term that many of our entrepreneurs unfortunately don't get to experience is called an exit. The only way that you can get money out of your business is to sell it. Now, that seems in contradiction to what I said earlier in terms of, us having a retail gap, but you build a business, you scale it so that somebody would want to buy it. The reason that we have such a big divide in the racial wealth gap is because lack of scalable, saleable businesses in our communities. So in other communities, folks build businesses and then they pass them on either to the next gen or they sell it in the open market. Going back to when I was at McDonald's, what I learned is that when the Black McDonald's owner operators were going to retire, they first tried to sell their restaurant to somebody else who was in the BMOA, the Black McDonald's owner operators. They sold it to them first so that they could keep it in the community. That's the same strategy that we have to employ with the rest of our businesses, because MC is so right. There's so many businesses that have been in business in the Black community 30, 40 years, and then the owner is faced with Father Time, who is undefeated, and decides that they need to sit down and try to enjoy the rest of their life. If they don't have somebody that they could sell the business to, then they don't have the income. That's the business was their retirement plan. So if they don't have the ability to sell that business, then they don't have the ability to retire, and they end up having to go work again in something else that is not their business. So there's two things that I try to tell entrepreneurs. One, that it's a fallacy to say as a Black entrepreneur to pay yourself last. Have a nest egg, even if it's $1 a month that you're taking out of payroll. Put something aside for yourself. Richest man in Babylon, pay yourself first. and then you pay your employees. That stuff that they tell you out there in the streets that you pay your employees first. No, I don't subscribe to that, because I've seen too many businesses in our community, when if they can't get an exit, they don't have anything to fall back on. That's the first thing. The second thing is begin to work on duplicating yourself, and try to identify somebody who is your successor. Even if it's somebody in your family, great. But if not, have an ESOP plan in your business, where you identify a key employee that you're going to transition that business to. Hopefully they also are Black, so that the business stays in our community. Those are some basic things that the chamber can help you put into place, so that you don't work 30, 40 years and don't have anything to show for it.
Absolutely, Robert. One of the things, and I know we're getting close to our time. Unfortunately, time flies when you're having such a, pardon me, important conversation. One of the other things I think, in terms of business is, being prepared to sell it, scale it. So it means that you have to be fairly successful. You can't sell something that nobody wants. So you got to make your business desirable, and you got to make it successful. And when you make it successful and you've got $100 million, it's easy to sell that business because people know it has a proven track record. But we got to help our people get to a point where they can grow those businesses. And you can't do that without being connected to organizations that can help you, introduce you, help you improve your sales. And it's amazing when I talk to business owners, and they will be struggling. But if you ask them how many times they're in front of their customers, how many times do they have a sales meeting that helps drive revenues, you'd be amazed at they're doing so many other things that they're not really focusing on the very things that keep the business going. So it's important for businesses, no matter where you're at in your business cycle, to get someone like the chamber to sit down with you, to listen, to hear you, to ask the right questions, and then get the advice. No different than a doctor. You sick, you got pain, you want that pain to go away. The doctor's got to ask you a couple questions. You just can't walk in the doctor's office and say, doc, and he just says, here's a pill. It didn't ask you what the complication, what the pain was, what your history of pain, all those things are important. We help you to do this. And if you want to be better, if you want to take your business to the next level, we are one of the organizations that help you to do that in a way that very few people can. And all of us play a role, but the chamber plays a significant role. And then we help advocate to, because of our corporate relationships, we're able to get in front of the presidents of ComEd, Ameren, AT&T, to promote them doing business with Black businesses. So when you think about where to invest your time and energy, what to belong to, because you fundamentally, when you become a member of the chamber, you actually buy another salesperson, but the cost of that salesperson is much cheaper than hiring a salesperson. Not saying you don't need to hire one, but understand that we're an additional asset to your organization to help you move from where you're at to where you want to
Uh-oh,
be.
Larry. Uh-oh, Larry. That you know what that sound means. That means that it's time to go. I feel so sad. I want to drop a tear. But watch this. How do you join the chamber? We've been talking about the chamber all this time. Make sure you go to ilbcc.org or call 309-740-4430. Make sure you subscribe to us on youtube.com. Look for the Wake Up Show Chicago and hit the subscribe button. Join us on Facebook for real-time info. The Wake Up Show Chicago is where it's at. And tune in with us each and every Saturday on WVON, iHeartRadio, and your smart device. Just say, turn on WVON Chicago. All right, that's it. Peace out from the Wake Up Show Chicago. And we'll see you next Saturday when we talk about, well, getting that good health with your business. Why not? Bye-bye for now.